Hey guys, well, what's up? In this video, I'm going to go through something that's a little bit controversial, but I know what I'm about to say is going to change the way you're going to grow your agency, and it will help you grow and scale a lot quicker. Now, what prompted me doing this video is a bit of feedback from our clients in combination with a video I watched with Jordan Platten and Serge Guitari. Both of those guys are really cool guys. You probably would have seen on my channel, I did a video interview with Serge Guitari before. Now, interestingly, in this video, Serge talked about the fact that he hated cold calling, and Jordan in the video talked about the fact that he loved cold calling, but for a very specific reason. Before I want to go into why cold calling is probably the worst way you can scale your agency, I want to preface with the fact that this is going to sound contradictory, but I got my first client all the way back in 2018 through cold calling. Now, I think it took me about 500 calls, but I actually got the client using cold calling. Now, I'm going to break this down into about 3 parts. The first part is benefits of cold calling. The second part is why cold calling won't help you scale. And then the last part is what I would do instead if I was in your current situation, perhaps at 5 to 10K per month, or even 1 to 3K per month, or even if you're at 20 to 25K per month and you're looking for a way to scale more quickly. I'll break down what I'll do. So let's go into why cold calling has benefits. So the fact is that one of the biggest things that's going to help your agency grow is getting good at sales. Now, there's a few different components that go into getting good at sales, but one of the main things is putting in the time and putting in the reps. Now, cold calling is literally one of the best ways to get good at sales because it does, one, it trains your nervous system to actually get less nervous and know how to speak to people under pressure. So if you're able to pump out 50 cold calls without breaking a sweat, it's going to be a lot easier for you to jump onto a Zoom call and actually close deals. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is it actually helps you develop a intuitive sales ability. So you start to understand what people, like how people are responding, what their energy is, what their attitude is towards how you're talking. It helps you frame up a lot of the way that you're going to get better at sales. So between those two things, training your nervous system and actually helping you develop an intuitive understanding of sales, it is extremely effective. However, it is very unlikely you're going to scale your agency past 10K with just cold calling. Now, I know some of you are going, hey, but I already did that. I know guys who have scaled with cold calling big companies like SEO companies, but here's the deal. They have big teams and they pay those teams a salary. So they have a big team, they pay those teams a salary, and they get them all into the same room in a pretty fun environment. If you're the guy at home bleeding through calls and you're getting booked appointments, but the fact is, and this is what a lot of people don't say, that getting booked appointments is one thing, but most of them won't show up because there's not enough tangible connection with you or trust with who you are and what your company is for. You'll probably find that when you book in cold calls, they'll say, hey, well, I have no idea what this call is for. What is this about? So while you put in all this effort, all this energy of like, yes, like I'm going to now pump out 10 cold calls or 30 cold calls or 50 cold calls or even 200 cold calls, and then most of them don't show, that's extremely unscalable. So that's the first thing. Now, yes, again, going back to that objection, right? But I have scaled to $1 million a year with cold calls. That's true, but it's with a team, it's with a process, and it's with a salary. If you're under 10K, I would not recommend it. I would recommend it maybe to get your first trial client, but after that, there are much better ways. Now, I want to talk about the alternative to cold calling, and this is what I call warm calling. Now, warm calling is essentially where you send out an email or you do an outreach and then you follow up with the phone call. Now, I want to first of all give credit to where credit is due. This was first introduced to me by agency educator called Alex Schlinsky. So he was the first guy that I heard about this concept of warm calling. Now, here's why warm calling is a much better way to scale. First of all, warm calling is essentially appointment setting. So learning how to set appointments is a fundamental skill, and warm calling will help you build that fundamental skill. Cold calling is like getting into a trap that's never going to actually work. You're never going to actually grow with cold calling. Even when you feel like you've had a successful day, most of those appointments won't show up. Now, the thing is, I'm just pulling out my phone because I want to show you something. The thing is that I've got tomorrow already on our calendar, like 12 book calls, right? For one of our sales reps, done without a single cold call. So there are much better ways to do it. Now, going back to warm calling. Warm calling is where you send out an initial outreach message. You send it, could be email, could be DM, SMS, WhatsApp, voicemail drop. There's a whole bunch of different methods that we actually teach in our program, by the way. And if you are looking to get your next client, 10 clients guaranteed, click the book now button below. There should be a little link at the bottom there. We can book a call, see if it's the right fit to work with our team. It's not the right fit for everybody. So make sure you do book in that call to see if it will work for you, because it is not for everybody. Now, what warm calling does is it will increase the percentage of book calls that you get. And it will also, at the same time, give you the same benefits of cold calling in terms of learning how to sell and training your nervous system, but it will actually produce you the outcome that you want, which is more sales. The fact is, cold calling, yes, it does work, but it's a massive slog. And the chances are that you're going to give up before you get to the revenue level that you want. If you do warm calling and partner it with a process where somebody's already put up their hand and they've said that they're interested in your services, or you've at least sent an initial outreach message, then it creates context. Now, I want to break down quickly the script that I would use with a warm call. Now, this is a part of the script that I formulated after taking literally like over 5,000, probably 10,000 of these warm calls, is that what you want to start with is when you call the lead, you want to go ring, ring. They'll say, hey, you want to say, hey, is that John? Yeah, hey John. Hey, who's speaking? Hey John, this is Henry. How you doing? Good. So the reason I'm calling John is because we actually sent an email out to you earlier this week. We are looking to partner with insert niche that is wanting XYZ result in your area. Do you have 2 to 3 minutes, and is it worth a conversation for me to explain to you how this works? Now, those 4 questions are going to either make or break your warm call. Now, a big part of the warm call as well is that you want to come across in a very warm and friendly way. So if you have like a good mic like I've got here, that can help. But if you come across in a warm and friendly way and you don't sound like your voice is breaking. Also, guys, I've seen those videos where people are like, hey, I'm going to be honest, this is a cold call. Don't do that. It's such a low status approach, and a big part of sales is coming at this sales conversation from a high status approach, that you're a person of authority. If you're like, this is just a cold call, I'm sorry, like we can hang up with me now if you want. That stuff might work sometimes, but ultimately it won't work long term. You want to do this instead. So, hey, is that John? Hey John, yes, this is John. Hey John, this is Henry. How you doing? Now, immediately John's thinking, what's this for? So you immediately answer that question. You say, John, the reason I'm calling is because we have your name here on our list. We sent you an email earlier this week. We're a startup company. We're actually looking to partner with, insert their niche, who want XYZ result in your area. So we're actually looking to partner with personal injury attorneys in New Jersey who are wanting to add an additional 10 pre-qualified personal injury applicants every single month. Is it worth the time, John, for you to take 2 to 3 minutes so I can just give you a quick sketch out of how this works? Now, here's the thing. If you deliver those lines well and you can get to the end of that sentence, chances are that 50% of people that hear that line are then going to continue the conversation with you, right? So if you can get that first, again, those first 4 questions dialed in, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to book the call. So that's what I recommend, guys. Again, it goes down to the principle that getting someone to put up their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in what you have to offer is so much better. And it's also better to send the initial outreach first, so you've actually got context for the conversation. And even internally, in your sort of emotional state, in the way that you approach that call, you're going to naturally go, well, there's context for this conversation. So that's what I would do. Now, ultimately, to scale, you're going to need to have multiple channels. So you're not going to scale with having a huge cold calling team. In most instances, you can do it, but there's many better ways to do it. There's a lot of different channels that you can use, like SMS, cold email, paid ads, DMs, using content. Like, there's so much that you can do with the internet right now that doing cold calls is a little bit like, it's like trying to, run a business on a Windows computer in 1998. Like, yes, it does work, but the only real benefit and the only real reason, going back to the interview with Jordan and Serge, is that it's just going to make you better at sales, but it won't get you the outcome that you want. So you may as well skip the line, do warm calls instead, so that you still learn sales, but you actually get the outcome you want. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. That's my video for today, and I'll speak to you soon. Pow.